Hola, bon dia. Carl Monson here with the Good Morning Portugal live stream, YouTube channel and podcast. Very good morning to you wherever you are in the world. We have a wonderful international guest with us today, CEO and founder of School Beyond Limitations. Martina Geromin will be with us after we've had a quick look at the weather. Hers is an amazing project, which I see as a hybrid of the traditional international school movement and all that's exciting about learning online. So stay tuned for that. But let's have a quick look at the weather around Portugal this morning. And in the capital, 21 degrees this morning currently and sunny, rising to 30. Lovely looking day there in Lisbon later on. Porto, 20 degrees currently and clear, rising to 25 today. In Coimbra, 29 degrees to look forward to. A little bit cloudy, and I seem to get the same sort of weather as we have in Coimbra. And again, a little bit misty and muted outside of my window, but you're looking forward to a very comfortable 29 degrees today. And in Faro, 33 degrees, currently 24. A lovely sunny day. Actually, a whole sunny weekend to look forward to with some great temperatures there. And let's randomly take a look at somewhere else we might not ordinarily see in Portugal. Santarém today, 32 degrees to look forward to, and currently 21 and sunny. So who are you, where are you, and how are you doing today? We've got a big day ahead of us with all things Portuguese for expats, people here and people looking to move here. We, of course, have the expatsportugal.com social evening tonight, the first of its kind, which will feature a wonderful quiz, which what could possibly go wrong? A Zoom quiz, and a bit of networking and people pitching their perfect part of Portugal. I hope you like that alliteration. So if you want to sing the praises of your part of Portugal, you might be living there now, you might have chosen to live there and you're heading that way at some point in the future. Join us for a few minutes, probably a 5-minute pitch, Dragon's Den style, which will be a great service to other people, actually, who may not have heard of your part of Portugal, and join us for at least that part of the social tonight. And then at 9, of course, Gary Austin will be here promoting his selection of the Douro region bottle of rosé tonight for the Good Morning Portugal Wine Club. So I'm really looking forward to that. Not a massive rosé fan, I have to say, but I'm open-minded as well. I'm looking forward to trying that. Gary's worked hard to bring that to us. A few good mornings. Andrew Rigney, I believe in the UK, saying good morning. Will Thompson in Obidos saying it's rainy there. A day of work, cancel culture. Sounds a bit grim, Will, but he could easily promote the wonders of Obidos. What a beautiful place that is. Medieval walled town. Bon dia, Carl. Very bright start in Manchester. That's nice. 2 days of that by the sound of it. Claire and Steve. In Villa de Rey, it's hot already there with Owen. And in the UK, in Brixham, and that's down in the southwest, in case you're wondering, it's 15 degrees and raining, brr, says Penny. Okay, thanks for your comments so far. Do keep your questions and comments coming in, because it's now time to welcome Martina Geromin. How are you, Martina? Good morning to you.
Good morning. Hola, bom dia from Zurich, Switzerland. Good to see you, Carl.
Lovely that you're talking to us from Zurich in Switzerland. How's your weather this morning?
Well, it's actually wonderful. It's kind of sunny, a little bit cloudy, but mainly sunny, and 20 degrees in the morning. It was, I think, 6 p.m. It was 20 degrees, and wonderful water conditions as well, because I went for a swim in the lake of Zurich, and it was 22 degrees, which is perfect for a swim.
Very well, thanks for joining us this morning. You have a wonderful project. Did I get that right? I mean, I think it brings together the idea of the international school movement and the latest innovations and all that's exciting about learning online. Have I got School Beyond Limitations right?
Absolutely right. Exactly. School Beyond Limitations actually is now even more innovative than it used to be 2 years ago when we started the project. You know, I mean, 2 years ago it was just a pilot project, and then we went for it for one year. It was so extremely successful that then we started officially. And now being in a phase of shutdown and, you know, very rigid measures in school schools as well, with social distancing and stuff like that. Of course, online schooling has become more and more, attractive to people. But it's I think what School Beyond Limitations is offering is very innovative. And I'm just thinking now also, and bless him, of Sir Ken Robinson, who just passed away, last week on the 21st of August. And I'm really sorry for that, because he's been, the change-making pioneer with regards to education. Everyone knows his speeches on TED Talks and his books, of course, and he has certainly also inspired me and us to go in that direction, to really put a strong focus on innovative education, on creativity, on personalized learning. It's really about seeing the human being behind each student and giving this human being the space to develop to the best, and not being exposed to just standardized curricula. It's about personalized curriculum. And this is so much also in line with the homeschooling movement, and many parents who are looking for something different, because they see more in their children, and not only in their children, in human beings as a whole. We believe that people coming into our lives, into reality, because each of us has a specific mission to fulfill. And there comes in School Beyond Limitations that goes away from standardized learning and really takes each single individual by their hands and guide them through the process towards where they want to go, in their specific direction.
Wonderful. Yeah. And I just very quickly looked up some Ken Robinson quotes, because he's always good for an education quote, isn't he? And the very first thing that comes up chimes exactly with what you're saying there. Our task is to educate their, as in our students' whole being, so they can face the future. And that's particularly timely, isn't it, on his passing? And may he rest in peace, and we acknowledge his incredible contribution to the world of education. But he makes the point about the whole being, which I know that's what you're all about at School Beyond Limitations, and a future. And it seems to me like it has never been so uncertain. So we really have to take some great care in how we're preparing young people for the future, and ourselves, actually, not just the kids. But how did you get into this? I understand you wanted to be a teacher from a very early age.
Yes. Yes, it's very weird. At the age of 5, I was just a child. I wasn't even at school yet. I was just in kindergarten. And due to a variety of illnesses, I actually couldn't attend kindergarten regularly. I went maybe for a few weeks, and then I was off again because I was sick and stuff like that. But at the age of 5, I really have it still in my mind. I dreamt of becoming a teacher in order to then lead schools and gain experiences in different schools, and then in order to create something special, and to bring something new into this reality. And that was so clear at the age of 5. I knew that education is everything. I just knew that it's about extracting the essence of human beings already at the time. I can't really tell why that happened, but it was just with me. And I went then into a formal education. I became a teacher. I did everything. I started in Italy because I'm Italian, and I became a middle school teacher to start with. And then, due to my life story, of course, and I was traveling also to different places, and I had to move to different places. So I experienced teaching in different levels, in primary school, secondary school, middle school, and I also became then, at the end of the day, a university lecturer, and then head of school, principal of international schools. And, at the end of the day, there was the need for School Beyond Limitations to be created. And actually, it was really out of the idea that schools, there are so many interesting systems out there. And I must say that, the IB system, I've been working in the IB system for many years. I know a number of traditional and state systems which are interesting, such as the Finnish education system. And I am a researcher myself in the education field. So I did my doctoral degree in pedagogy. And then in the end, another one, a PhD, a DBA actually in higher education management. But there was always something, and I realized that there was always something missing in each of the systems. And I had the perception something needs to be integrated. And this is what Ken Robinson and you were quoting also before. It's about, personalizing and really making people ready for today's life by acknowledging the uniqueness they are, and that's why you have to create space for personal development in a school, emotional development. And this is something which is just part sometimes of a school curriculum, but it's not embedded in the fabric of the school. And this is what we have done. We have embedded that into School Beyond Limitations syllabus. It's just everyday's lesson. They are ingrained with personal development strategies, so that students really, first of all, embrace their beauty and embrace the beauty of other human beings. And then secondly, of course, we also want them to embrace, as you said before, uncertainty, flexibility. We are living in, so to say, uncertain times, but I'm not sure whether this is actually true, because we have created and designed as human beings kind of that everything has to be planned ahead of time. But life is not like going according to our plans at times, right? It's more about catching, the opportunities that are out there and looking at life as an opportunity and what can I do with this? And so we also encourage our students and families to see each situation as a generative possibility to create something new out of that. So it's this kind of entrepreneurial mindset. We encourage our students to see where their real talents, and not see, they just understand, and embrace their real talents and their real interests. And then we lead them towards make something out of it, whether this is already at the age of 14 or 15 or 16. So once they are ready, we encourage them to bring it already into the world. We say you don't have to do first a degree in order to already put it into practice. You can do it already beforehand. And by saying that, we also put a strong emphasis, of course, on academics, because academics knowledge acquisition is important, right? But we see it from a different angle. We say, we are really knowledgeable human beings, but we have to embrace also perspectives of others. We have to dig deeper. We have to understand, what research is showing us and how can we make sense of that, so
Brilliant.
that we don't, it's about critical thinking as well. We don't just say students read this, for instance, but we say read this and make sense of it. Is this in alignment with what other people are saying, what other countries are saying, what other entrepreneurs are saying? Is it in alignment with yourself? And how can we create something out of that so that it is meaningful for yourself, but not only for yourself, that it is meaningful also for the community in which you are living, or the bigger society, and we don't necessarily, not necessarily, I can take away the necessarily, we don't judge it. We don't say this goal or this achievement is more important than any other. It's important that you just bring into the world what is really yeah, meaningful for yourself and for the surrounding you are in. To make an example, if somebody were to say, I'm so interested in already babysitting now, at the age of 13, and you do it with one person, and you offer your service to one person, that's extremely, that's valued as the same important as making a business out of it, Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm guessing you're encouraging your students that way. A lot of people, I think, listening will be, and they'll probably may well tell us about their own school days, but people will be saying, I'm sure, it wasn't like that in my day. And I'd really love the emphasis that you've got there, on personal development. I think for a lot of us, in the old days, the idea was to cram information into people so that they could pass exams, and that still exists, I think, as part of it's a hard habit to break, isn't it? But I love your emphasis on it, almost like an induction of bringing out what's there rather than cramming in what's there. So it'd be interesting to hear how people are reflecting on their past in school. Tell us with School Beyond Limitations how that works on a day-to-day basis. What have you done sort of specifically technically to empower this, and what's the structure of the school?
Well, the structure of the school is based mainly online, but not only online. We also have 3 times a year where we meet physically. Actually, our new school year is starting in a few days. So our new school year starts on Sunday.
Oh,
and then there we invite all the students to come to one place in Europe for now. And we are gathering this year in Zurich. We stay together for an experiential focus of the specific country that the students are coming in. And the focus this year and for this residential week is democracy, direct democracy, because Switzerland is the birthplace, so to say, of referendums and direct democracy. And this is where we are digging into this topic. And of course, one of our main foci is also, this multicultural sensitivity, so that our students embrace the fact that there is diversity out there, right? It's diversity with regards to their own beings, because everyone is unique, but it's also diversity with regards to the cultural background of the different countries. And what is the aim is that our students become very acquainted to actually live in and embrace and do well in whatever reality they are exposed to. So if they were to say, okay, now I'm moving to, I don't know, to Portugal, that they actually embrace that fact immediately and they say, I can do it as well there as I can do it in Finland, for instance. I'm aware of the differences with regards of their historical and cultural background, but still I know how to integrate myself in such a way without giving up myself as a person, but by acknowledging and appreciating the diversity of that country. So to getting back to your question before, how is it structured? We meet physically 3 times per year in different places in Europe for now, and we are now getting global. So it will be then other continents when we start classes also beyond our time zones. We actually cater for the time zones of Central European time, plus 6 hours towards the east and minus 1 hour towards the west for now. Okay, so we can embrace 7 hours of or 8 hours of different time zones. So our student body is, of course, international. And on top of these residential weeks, we offer online lessons that are clearly stated. So our students meet every day from 9 to 12 a.m. From Monday to Friday, so 3 hours per day. And there is structure, of course, and in those 3 hours the main focus is based on personal development, on physical development, but also on academic development, and basically on project learning, you know, inquiry-based learning, where each student, we have very small groups. We don't have larger classes than 8 students per class. Sometimes we even start a class, so to say, with 5 students in there. So each student, of course, brings different talents, different interests, and they share and they go into depth and into more, you know, they go into depth in their specific fields, and they share their specific experience with the others. So we design our curriculum, our syllabus, so to say, organically. And just to go back to what you were saying before, you know, standardized tests. We, of course, also prepare our students for tests if they want to pursue a specific, you know, I don't know, university degree, or if they want to pursue a specific job where they want to do their, you know, examinations, whether this is IGCSEs or A levels. So we prepare them for that. And interestingly enough, we can already say our students are doing really well in that. Okay, so everything is tailor-made towards the outcome of their specific goals. So if a student were to undergo A levels at the end of the school year, then together with a mentor, because on top of the lessons, of the 3 hours lessons every day, they also have a personalized individual mentoring session with their on one-on-one with their mentor per week. Okay, so, and with that, and the students also learn to understand that learning is not only taking place during these 3 hours in the morning, they expand that afterwards, right? So it's actually the students then saying, I don't know, we had, for instance, a student who expressed the wish to write a book, right? That was in March, end of March. She wanted to write a book. And then in 2 months' time, she finished her book, which was based on 200 pages, a wonderful book. And now she goes with this book, you know, it will be published, right? So this is the process, and the teacher mentor helps the student to actually achieve this goal. Okay, and the others, so to say, learn then through the content of the book, through this specific student. Or another student is into, let's say, you know, animals, then and into horse riding, and so they expand their respective knowledges, you know, and knowledge, and so each of them get inspired by the others because they bring something specific to the table. So and they expand it in the afternoon, as I said, and they come together also in the afternoon, although they're sitting in different countries. You know, it's interesting. They tend to collaborate then afterwards. They meet in Zoom room afterwards, and they expand their learning and bring it back in the next day, the results of their learning in the afternoon. And they are also encouraged to do, to take part in specific activities on site where they are. If somebody, for instance, if you were to sit in Portugal, in Porto or in Lisbon, and somebody were to say, I would like to take part in a ballet course, then we would help this person to find the ballet course which is suitable for her or him, and then this would be brought into the lessons as well, so that the students understand, wow, what a person is doing outside of school is relevant as much as what the student is doing inside the school. And we also connect students with entrepreneurs.
Very good. Very good. Yeah, so I get this sense, that it's like students are being encouraged to take responsibility for their learning, which is fantastic, rather than just, I mean, that's my memory of school, is just feeling like part of a machine, and not very person-centered, and going along with that flow until I discovered what I wanted to do in life, which I'm not sure I've done yet. It's so much more focused on the individual, and from the point of view of expats in Portugal, thinking of coming to Portugal, there's often the concern about what to do in terms of educating one's children, of course, whether you homeschool, whether you go into the local schools, whether you go to international school. And now here's a new option, which I think is wonderful. And it fits in with this very nomadic way of life for some people and for children. And that's sometimes seen as, a little bit unsettling for children. But you're providing a very solid landmark, aren't you? You're the constant, perhaps, for some young people and children. Whilst they and their family are moving around the world, you become the constant of the education and
Exactly.
the colleagues that those children have. That using that context, that's certainly an application for expats coming to Portugal or going anywhere in the world. But who is this aimed at? Who do you find are your clients here?
Who? Well,
Yeah.
it's especially people, expat people, right? And
Mm.
digital nomad people, and also artists and sports people, who are not as, yeah, exactly. It's families who want to give this constant, what you were saying before. And actually, this was one of our reasons also to create School Beyond Limitations, on top of offering this personalized, holistic and entrepreneurial program, and syllabus. We wanted to give this continuity to families, because I have experienced myself how dreadful it is sometimes, to just move from one country to the next country, where you don't know, you still know that there are the same systems out there. You find the British system, you find the IB school, you find the American schools, you find lots of different school settings, the German school, the whatever. Yeah, you find that, but you still have to leave your community behind you. You still have to leave your school, your staff, your teachers behind you. And that it's not necessarily like that an IB school, for instance, in Spain is delivering completely the same level of the IB school in Portugal, for instance. Of course, there is a clear syllabus and people have to adhere to that, but still, what makes the difference in life? It's human beings, right? And how they interpret the standards, and it's really about interpretation of the standards. And that's why we came in and we said, let's create something, a program where parents are just in a safe place, and they can say, listen, now I offer something, and my child will not have to undergo change all the time with regards to education, and will be taken by his or her hand until they are ready to fly off by themselves. Whether this is the entrance to university, or whether this is the entrance into a job, or whether this is the entrance into becoming your own entrepreneur. This is then to be decided and to be seen throughout the pursuit of this journey. But it's about continuity, and I would have given so much, also as a professional, because it's also for professional people, right? I had to leave back my wonderful school settings, which I loved, to lead, for instance, international schools, where really we introduced so many spectacular things, from vertical learning across all the age levels to the creation of expos, a copy of the expo, which we did once with our students, by bringing entrepreneurs together. And here, this is what we are doing here. We are creating lots of fabulous things with the students, but the students stay together in a safe place with the same teachers, who know them really well them, and where there is a very strong collaboration as well with the family. And also we try to understand, as I said before, our students really from their core. So we are using lots of different strategies just to understand which kind of personality is in front of us, and acknowledging this personality and not twisting the personality by just making this personality blossom, and not by saying we don't, there's this notion of of special needs out there. I'm wondering, shall we call it special needs? Actually, Sir Ken Robinson, he talked, well, he himself was considered to be a special need child.
Oh, really?
At the time. Yeah.
Amazing.
But if we embrace the beauty of each person, then it's not about special needs. It's about the variety. It's about the differences, and it's about the acknowledgement of the differences. And by saying,
being unique. Yeah.
Being unique. And by saying that, I don't want to say that, we don't have any standards. By saying that, we just want to say we believe that our brain can rewire at any time, right? And we believe in the growth mindset. And this works really well when school and family work very, very well together, in the sense that that there is trust for what the respective parties are doing, right? And then everything is possible. And that's why we called our school Beyond Limitations, because we always go beyond limitations. We want the word limitation is something that actually holds us back. And we say, what else is possible? What else is possible?
Martina, in such what would appear a challenging time, this is you're really doing something, I think, just sort of deep and profound, really, and not fearful. Very, very, very adventurous, very exciting. We've got a few more comments coming in, and people talking about their educations, which is interesting. I'm sure you'll respond. Sean says, "Bon dia, my dear," from Pedregão, Paquino in Portugal. Valerie has an interesting tale to tell about her education, but she's saying, "Good morning, raining here in San Martino de Porto, busy day for her." We have Gary, who I mentioned before, who says, "Like Martina, I missed a lot of schooling and fell behind. The system didn't allow for this type of diversity, so I really struggled. Most of the time I was thrown a book and told to catch up." Yeah, that sounds familiar. I often wonder how my life would have been with a more solid education. Going back to Valerie, well, sorry, we're hiding behind the comment here, Valerie. It's a big one. Well, in the 9 schools I attended, I dragged myself through on art history, home economics, English, music. I was always more interested in what was going on outside the window. Different school, different curriculums, different countries. Was tough to keep up, but I graduated. But like Gary, I've wondered if a more settled life would have meant better education. But I've grown up not afraid of moving, changing and facing new things, and that is an education in itself. And that's great, Valerie. Hola, bon dia from Adrienne. Good morning to you, Adrienne. And also from Ty here. I was okay with what we may call standard academia, but I did far better with day release from work and evening school at a technical college. The students acted with more maturity, and we all came to work hard there. This is great. Wayne Barker says, "It looks like governments are struggling with the current uncertainty. Life is uncertain. The more we teach our kids to cope with it, the future should be better prepared for unexpected events." I think what you're doing, Martina, embodies all that's been expressed there, hasn't it? And I want to know if you're going to start a school for us lot, beyond beyond the teenage and years and the trajectory to university, perhaps. Is there going to be an adult version of School Beyond Limitations?
Well, this is a new idea. Why not? Something like that could come up in the future. I haven't thought of that yet, honestly speaking. But thank you for throwing out this idea to us. Of course,
it doesn't stop, does it? Our education shouldn't stop, should it? But that's, you're brought up to believe that, I suppose, in a more traditional sense, because the education system was built for the Industrial Revolution, wasn't it? To put people in the machine. And I did hear the other day. Is it something like a 19th century a system for a 20th century economy, but not with a 21st century ideas or philosophy like you've got here. I mean, this is what you're doing, is that you've got a 21st century philosophy for education. I didn't put that correctly, but you see what I mean? It's like the education system, such as we have it in a lot of so-called developed countries, is actually looking backwards towards the industrial age rather than forwards to a technological nomadic age that we've been talking about this morning.
Yeah, not all the countries, of course, you know, as I said before, the Finnish education system is certainly moving forward. And interestingly enough, they are doing what we are doing. They have introduced something that we have already started to do. And that's actually, they got away from offering subject-based classes. So they actually canceled, you know, all the subjects. They work on projects now as well. You know, exactly.
And have you said across the ages as well? Because I think that's really interesting. It's an industrial idea to put all the kids of one age together, isn't it? You know, life isn't like that. We're with people of all ages, aren't we? So it's really weird to have everybody of the same age in the same place.
Exactly. And I mean, that's not happening in Finland necessarily, but that's what we are doing. We also put the different ages together because exactly, life is different, you know. We have friends of different ages and we work with people of different ages. And it's so fascinating to actually acknowledge and see what happens if different ages actually work together. And in my previous, you know, schools, we introduced some vertical learning moments, which were fascinating. But here we are doing it on a daily basis. And it's interesting. Sometimes, you know, one would say all the students may be bored if they are together, if they are mingled together with younger students. And it's not the case. The older students, they actually really learn so well how to communicate well with younger students, how to put their presentations together so that younger students benefit from it. And they learn so much. And sometimes younger students see things in a different perspective, you know, and that helps the older students again. Oh, okay, you know, I've changed somehow because I grew older, but I still have to embrace that as well. And vice versa too, you know, the younger students, of course, they are exposed to so many inspirations by the older students as well, which is just, you know, kind of outstanding to see. You know, we had a student who joined us, and after 2 weeks, and that was just we offered a new class when we entered the COVID-19 situation back in March, April, right? So we opened a new class then for families who were struggling with the situation because schools were not ready, you know, to offer their students decent education from school. They just sent them via email, you know, assignments, and that was it. And so parents were really kind of struggling with that, and they enrolled their children at school beyond limitations for 4 weeks. And we had a number of students then who said, "What? Is that possible? This is school?" And one of the students, 16 or 17 years old, she said, "You know, I've learned in 2 weeks more than I did over a year in my former school. I feel much close." Yeah, she said that, you know. And at the end, she also said, "You know, I feel..." Because I was thinking, you know, how does she feel with the 10 years in her class if she's not used to that, you know? And at the end, she said, "You know, I feel much more bonded with these students that I have never met," because they never met physically. Really, they never met physically. They were just online, right? And she said at the end, "Wow, I feel much more bonded with these students than with my peers in my school that I've known now for 8 years or 9 years."
Yeah,
and, you know, it's amazing. And I think this is coming because we put such a huge emphasis on this bonding, emotional and personal development element, where people just understand, well, this is me, but I'm important, and this is you, and you are important as well, you know. And there is not this kind of judgment and categorizing, you know, you are not good at this and you are not good at that. It's about bringing out the beauty of people. And if somebody is not talking that much, it's okay. you know, they will learn it. It's okay if somebody's talking a lot, then, you know, they will also learn to be quiet at times, because they see the reaction, because we also base everything on reflection then, you know, on reflection, self-reflection, peer reflection, and each lesson actually includes that, you know, have I given the best? Have I, you know, really lived up to my personal excellence? You know, it's not the excellence stated by some standardized, you know, experts. It's what I feel I can do best. And of course,
respect for the children, for the young people. That's superb. I think we probably need to conclude. I could talk all day with you about education, because it is such a fascinating subject, and obviously, I think worthy of transformation and evolution around the world. I think we are, generally speaking, in the world, stuck in quite old systems, and I really love what you're doing, Martina. You mentioned throwing entrepreneurs into the mix as well, which is really important, isn't it? Before we go, could you say a little bit about that and how that's working, that angle of having an entrepreneurial spirit developed in the young people as well?
Yeah, it's about what I said before. It's about creating this generative mindset where people actually see themselves not as becoming an employee necessarily. If they want to become an employee, of course they can. It's not that we judge again. We don't say this is wrong, right? Don't get me wrong, but we develop in them the idea of being the creators of their own lives. And that means having this entrepreneurial spirit, having this you know, and learning this gift of taking risks, of embracing uncertainty, of being flexible, of learning how to develop a plan as well, of course, a business plan whatsoever, you know, and of seeing it from the perspective of I can do it, and never giving up, instead of saying I'm dependent on somebody else. I'm not dependent. I'm the person who creates something, and I may then create something for other people. You know, I may create jobs for other people, and that's where we emphasize, of course, a lot of you know, lessons on that, but it's embedded again in our system. Yeah. It's just embedded because through this kind of approach, people just start, and students start to see that they can do anything at any time with the right approach towards it, you know. So we have, for instance, a student who is very, very skilled in doing animations, and she has already started to become a small, you know, entrepreneur with regards to that, just working with, you know, in her own environment, offering animations for birthdays or, you know, anniversaries and stuff like that. And she's already starting to earn money. And she's only 13, you know, she's only 13. And on top of that, of course, we bring students together with entrepreneurs, so that once they are ready, and they can really make sense of that, right? Not all of them. Once they are ready, and we see that there is readiness there, we bring them in contact with an entrepreneur who mentors them on a monthly basis.
Brilliant. As well. What a fantastic education these youngsters are having. It sounds like it's not too late to enroll this year. Are you still accepting students in these next few days? Is that still possible?
Yes, it is still possible. It is still possible. Of course, we need to go through the admission process, you know, yeah. But we still have places, and we, you know, we are ready to grow very fast, because our staff is ready to embrace more students. So yes, there are a few places left for now, and yeah, please come in and or sign in and fill in your details, and then we will set up a meeting, you know, so that we can discuss it. By the way, this evening at 8 p.m. we do have an information evening about School Beyond Limitations, and so you may also want to join us for that. And yeah, very happy.
All the W's, school-beyond-limitations.com to find out more. Martina Geromin, the CEO and founder of School Beyond Limitations, thank you so much for joining us this morning, telling us about what you do, who it's aimed at, and so on. And thank you, more generally, if we go back to Ken Robinson, we have another quote from Ken. The role of leadership in education, this is you, Martina, obviously, is not and should not be command and control. The real role of leadership is climate control, creating a climate of possibility. And it sounds like that's exactly what you're doing. So thanks for doing that in the world as well. Been lovely to talk to you.
Thank you, Carl, for having me. Thank you so much. And a happy day to everyone.
Thank you so much. I think we've got a few inspired people now. We're going to go out and do our personal best and look at life through the personal development lens today. Thank you, Martina. I hope to speak to you again sometime soon.
Thank you. Thank you, Carl. Bye.
Bye for now. There goes Martina. How wonderful to speak to Martina Geromin there. Yeah, you can find out more, schoolbeyondlimitations.com. Don't forget the hyphens there. And just to let you know about the shape of things to come, we're clashing with Martina tonight. There is an information session that you can sign up for. We also have Expats Portugal calling tonight with me, Astrid, and Jerry. And we're having a bit of a social evening. So I imagine one or both of those will be recorded so you can enjoy both. And then at 9 o'clock, it is the return of the Good Morning Portugal Wine Club. Let me show you tonight's selection by way of a complete contrast to talking about the education of young people. Here we are, how some adults are continuing with their personal development with a nice glass of rosé this evening. This is wine number 9 for us. It's the Quinta de Pachesa Duro Rosé. And join us. It's Gary's selection. He was given the challenge of finding a nice rosé. And for some people, those two words don't exist in the same sentence. And not only that, but to source it a little as well, because we had quite a controversial show last week, whereby the accusation was made that you couldn't get decent wine at Lidl, which was indeed controversial. And we'll see if that is the case tonight or not. So do join us this evening. And join us again tomorrow morning where we'll see you. Well, I'll be able to say again, good bon dia, tudo bem to you tomorrow on the Good Morning Portugal live stream. So, até já, abraços, beijinhos, ciao, ciao. See you tomorrow. Take care.